I'll see you later.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. Today is Monday, December 2nd, 2013. We're here for the regularly scheduled meeting of the Elmhurst City Council. I would ask that you all join me, rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk Cyprian, could you please call the roll to establish a quorum?
Gutenkopf.
Here.
Deuter.
Here.
Dunn.
Here.
Leader.
Here.
Palumsky.
Here.
Graham.
Here.
Hipskin.
Here.
York.
Here.
Levin.
Here.
Healy.
Here.
Conquest.
Here.
Kennedy.
Here.
Mulliner.
Here.
And Wagner.
Here.
How many we have?
14.
14 present, 0 absent. We have a quorum. Okay, I'm going to ask, and I think they're outside, they're filing in, but for the record, I'm going to ask Athletic Director Tom Shergan, Coach Gene Field, and Coach Nancy DeMoore to join me at the podium. Assuming they're here.
Probably outside.
There they are.
There they are. Give them a second to file in. Fantastic. Uh-oh. Did that happen on the court?
What?
That.
Yes. Yes. Third game.
Again, I'd like to welcome Athletic Director Tom Shergan, Coach Gene Field, and Coach Nancy DeMoore to the Elmhurst City Council. It is my distinct honor and pleasure to welcome the state championship IC Catholic Prep girls volleyball team. Let's give them a round of applause. What a terrific accomplishment. It's through no work of my own. It's just fantastic to be here and be so proud of you. You represent Elmhurst with class and dignity, and we share in congratulating you. At this point, I want to bring up Coach Gene Field. This is not Coach Field's first state championship, but it's her first since 1984. Coach Field has been coaching the team for 39 years, if that's correct. Right. So without any further ado, Coach Field.
I'd like to quickly introduce our two assistant coaches, Susie Barnfind and Karen Russ. Then we have Courtney Dam, another assistant. Then Tess Reardon is a freshman. Aaron West, Brianna Hernandez, Molly Mannion, Carrie Mulligan, Emma Hendricks, Claudia Cook, Franny Cervoni, who got injured in the last couple points of the state championship match, Hannah Hartnett, and our three seniors who were kind of the heart and soul of our team, Kimmy Martino, Delaney DeMoore, and Rory Mannion, and then of course my left-hand assistant coach. In our 77 years of educating young men and women in the city of Elmhurst, we are proud to represent Elmhurst and IC Catholic Prep at the Bloomington IHSA State Tournament. Bringing a state championship back to Elmhurst and IC Catholic Prep is an honor we will hold in our hearts for many years to come. On behalf of the fine young women at IC Catholic Prep volleyball team, the coaches, I would like to thank you for recognizing our state championship. I know there's another coach in Elmhurst that wins a lot of state championships, and we're proud to be among them. Thanks for having us. Thank you.
I would ask the entire team, I know that the City Council would like to give you a personal congratulations. Please walk on up here.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Yeah, right there.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, senior, right? Where are you going? Oh, you don't know yet. I don't know that. You? Don't know yet? Congratulations. You're okay, I get it. Congratulations.
Do that.
Congratulations.
You don't have to shake.
Congratulations. Watch your step.
Congratulations, kids.
Oh, thank you.
Watch your step. Watch that step. I don't think anybody else get hurt.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Watch your step.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
It's a big one.
Thanks for coming. Okay. Again, congratulations from the entire City Council. Agenda item number 3, receipt of written communications from the public. Is there anybody in the audience at this time who has any written communication they would like to submit to our clerk? If so, please approach Clerk Cyprian. Seeing none, we'll move on to public forum. Before I ask Clerk Cyprian if there's anybody signed in, public forum is an opportunity for anybody in the audience to address the City Council as a whole on any item that they may want to discuss. We ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes. If you do go over 3 minutes, I will give you a short reminder and ask you to wrap it up. You're welcome to discuss any topic you wish. You may or may not get an answer tonight based on our agenda. That having been said, Clerk, is there anybody signed up this evening?
There is.
And the first person?
Gilbert Fisher?
Mr. Fisher, please approach the microphone, the one behind you, and you have your 3 minutes after you announce yourself.
I'm Gilbert Fisher at 586 North Van Auken Street, Elmhurst, Illinois. And you are my government. And because I have a house, you tax me. And when I use electricity in my house, you tax me. You are my government. When I use gas in my house, you tax me. When I use my phone, you tax me. And when I take my wife out to lunch in Elmhurst, you tax me. You are my government. What about the state of Illinois? That's my government. They tell me I do not have the right to vote for my United States Senator because we don't have the money. So the state raises my taxes 67%. They are my government. And I received a 4-page letter from Washington, D.C. I have Blue Cross Blue Shield supplemental insurance for Medicare. I first started Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance in June of 1960. Carried it through all my life, all my family. My wife and I have it as of now. But because of the Affordable Care Act, my policy will be canceled on January 1st, 2014. It does not meet the requirements of the United States government Affordable Care Act. Now, this insurance that we have for the next 3 weeks or so, we pay $433 a month for. And it's no good according to our government. What kind of government do I have? I have a government that taxes, taxes, taxes. I have a government that takes my right to vote away from me, even though I was a soldier and fought for this country. I don't have a right to vote. No, sir. and now my insurance is gone. But I'm very lucky. I have a beautiful wife. She's very optimistic. She says, Gil, don't worry about it. We're sick. We go to the hospital. What Medicare doesn't pay, they send us a bill, which would always be paid for by the insurance we have now, but not next year. We just take the bill and send it to Washington, D.C. That's our government in the United States of America. They will pay it for us. Yes, I have great respect for all government in the United States of America. Thank you.
Claude Pagaz, 566 West Gladys.
Claude Pagaz, 566 West Gladys. Mike, I'd like to thank you for your presentation at the last meeting. I even took Mr. Levin's advice, went and drove up in that area because I used to live there. Unfortunately, I need a new front-end alignment. It's hard to believe that our Public Works Department believes that a concrete road will last 75 years. Just hard to believe, because the Illinois Department of Transportation just ripped the hell out of 53, put down another concrete road. That concrete road hadn't been there for 75 years. An illusion. When you asked about an increase in funding, it kind of all fell apart, because there was an alderman that said, well, if we spend money up there, Bram, then the rest of us don't get our roads fixed. Isn't that a crying shame? Really doesn't. Yeah. But when that money came up again for a little ditty on the York Road, it would be a vote against public safety if it wasn't voted in. None of these aldermen have ever spent time around York High School when there's a football game or a track game out there. You want to talk about public safety being thrown to the wind. It really is. It's amazing. We can't find money to fix the roads up there, Mike, but we can charge those people up their taxes. Must be paying for all those other roads in all those other legislative districts. Yep, but just think all the money we have found. All that money we spent on that parking garage area, buying a gas station, giving the money to the supermarket, giving tax dollars back to businesses because they might leave. But your streets, I'm afraid, Mike, your streets will be mud pats by the time this council ever figures that they're going to put up $1 to straighten them out. And I'll guarantee you one thing, there is no concrete plane in them. Those cold patches aren't holding, and those cracks, which are canyons, the city must have had tankers go up there to fill them all in. But we're passing up a golden opportunity with your area. We do have major manufacturers, automobiles in this country, and they spend millions of dollars on test tracks. Our city manager really ought to go up and talk to them and rent out that part of the city. For those people have paid and paid, and I paid when I was up there, and I can guarantee you, Mike, 30 years ago, you could drive down.
Mr. Pagaz, you're at your 3 minutes. I'd ask you to wrap it up.
Oh, yeah. If any of the aldermen want to go up there, borrow a Humvee or I don't know, maybe a tank to go driving down those roads. They're really wonderful.
Tamara Brenner, 137 North Caroline.
Tamara Brenner, 137 North Caroline. So on tonight's consent agenda, you guys are going to be approving a resolution for the 5th letter agreement with Addison Corridor Development, LLC, for the parking garage. The current contract expires on January 1, so it's not unexpected to see this item on the agenda. This is going to extend the contract until June 30th of 2014. The contract was initially approved in February of 2009, so we're well past 5 years to get this project going. If the council had chosen to go along with what the original contract called for, which was a 4-story parking garage with retail, that building could have been built by now and being used. But instead, we're pursuing this pathway to get a 6-story building in the downtown, even though that's contrary to the current comprehensive and downtown plans of the city and contrary to the zoning code, which I thought the city council was supposed to preserve, but apparently they want it to be different. And that's evidenced by multiple events over the past few years. In this agenda item, it says that this is requested by the developer, this extension of the contract, which I find kind of curious also, just language-wise, because it's the city's project. And I'm wondering if the developer sent a letter requesting this, or if it was just by a phone call, kind of how they told you what the price of the building is going to be in 2014 or 2015 whenever it gets built. Apparently it's not in writing, it's only done by phone these days. I came across an article in the Chicago Tribune that kind of talks about the parking situation in other locations nearby. I wonder if y'all saw this. Glen Ellen and Wheaton study downtown parking. A couple sentences from this article. For years, officials in Glen Ellen have been hearing from residents about a lack of parking in the downtown, despite studies showing plenty of spaces available for customers. Does that sound familiar? The chief of police in Glen Ellen said it dawned upon us that it isn't a lack of parking, but addressing the perception of the lack of parking. Why aren't we saying stuff like that here in Elmhurst? In Wheaton, a parking analysis showed that there is enough parking in the city's downtown, despite a perceived parking issue reported by residents who participated in the survey. Again, does that sound familiar? This type of situation where there's plenty of parking infrastructure in downtowns is ubiquitous. It's not just in the Chicagoland. If you start researching this, you'll find this everywhere. And if the solution to this problem was to overbuild infrastructure, other municipalities would have thought of it by now and done so. But they're not doing it because that is not the solution. Build appropriate amount of infrastructure, don't overbuild it. I'll be looking forward to see where this goes in the new year, and I hope that in the end, reason will prevail.
That's it.
No one else has signed up. Is there anyone else in the audience who did not have an opportunity to sign in before the meeting to speak? If there's anybody in the audience who wishes the opportunity to address the council, please raise your hand. Seeing none, we'll move on. Announcements.
Not right now.
Any other announcements? Any announcements from the dais? Alderman Gutenkopf.
Let me just bring this up here. This is the week that United Community Concerns Association packs and sorts all of Elmhurst food donations to go to residents of School District 205. And I'm very happy to say that I was at the Public Works Garage today sorting the initial flush of donations, and it seems like this year we received more food than I've ever seen before. So I'm really thrilled that Elmhurst residents turned out with great donations. What I want to announce is that tomorrow, December 3rd, and Wednesday, December 4th, volunteers are still needed to help sort and pack food for redistribution. And on Saturday, December 14th, from 8 to 9 a.m., volunteers are needed to deliver holiday food boxes. If you'd like to volunteer, you can send an email to ucca.elmhurst@gmail.com. For details, we'll be taking boxes from the Public Works Garage and bringing them to residents' houses. So thanks to everybody who came out today to help with the initial sort. And if you're interested in volunteering on December 14th, please send an email to Susie Sands, ucca.elmhurst@gmail.com. Thank you.
Okay, any other announcements? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there anyone at this time who would like to have an item removed from the consent agenda for further comment or discussion? Any items to be removed? Alderman Bram.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 6.9.
6.9. Any other items to be removed from tonight's consent agenda?
Sorry, also, I was just trying to scroll down. 6.31.
6.31. Okay, 6.9, 6.31. Any additional items that anyone would wish to have removed from tonight's consent agenda?
Tax levies.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda minus items 6.9 and items 6.31. Motion by Alderman Gutenkopf, second by Alderman Kennedy. Clerk Cyprian, please call the vote.
Mulliner. Aye. Wagner.
Wait, I gotta go with, Alderman Gutenkopf had the,
I thought I started with second. Okay.
start with Alderman Gutenkopf, then go to Alderman Kennedy, and then I think.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Gutenkopf.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Deuter.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Leader.
Aye.
Palumski.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Ipskin.
Aye.
York.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Conquest.
Deuter. You need to.
14 ayes, 0 nays.
14 ayes, 0 nays, that motion carries. Consent agenda passes minus items 6.9 and 6.31. On to agenda item 6.9. Clerk Cyprian, I would ask that you read the recommendation.
It is therefore the recommendation of the Public Affairs and Safety Committee that the city attorney be authorized to draft the appropriate ordinance for the removal of yield signs and installation of stop signs for the eastbound and westbound approaches to the intersection of May Street and Prairie Avenue.
Okay, Public Affairs and Safety, I will entertain a motion to approve the report and recommendation as read. So moved by Alderman Wagner, second by Alderman Leader. Alderman Wagner, would you care to comment?
I would. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't exactly know why it was pulled. We'll certainly find out. But I would like to just let everybody know that it was discussed in committee, and it met the warrants of the MUTCD code, so we followed staff's recommendation for the stop signs.
Okay. Alderman Bram, you pulled this.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had a couple questions. Alderman Wagner, thank you for your summary. The statement about it meeting the MUTCD is one that I'm not clear on, and that's why I pulled this line item. It seems like we've been getting a significant amount of requests for traffic control devices, and I just want to make sure I understand that we're dotting the i's and crossing the t's. The two questions mainly that I have is, what was the rationale behind putting the stop signs, I believe, on May Street compared to Prairie Avenue? Because the MUTCD, which I'm reading from in front of me, clearly state that the stop sign should be on the less traveled road and not the higher traveled road, which in this instance would be May Street. And then the second question would be just overall, what is the necessity of needing stop signs at this intersection compared to the current yield signs for traffic control devices? The report that staff has provided definitely shows that one direction there's a slight degradation in line of sight, but over 4 years there has been only one accident, which I don't see in the report anywhere. It's stating to be correctable by stop signs, i.e. possibly not correctable because it possibly was not a right angle collision, which any traffic control device would correct. So if those two questions could be answered, I would appreciate it.
Alderman Wagner, would you care to respond?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I will do my best, Alderman Bram. Prairie heading southbound T's, that ends into May Street. That's one reason there's no stop sign on Prairie. That wasn't part of the recommendation. And the recommendation really was around sight lines. Does that help?
Follow up, Alderman Bram?
Yes, thank you. According to the diagrams and what I've seen, it's not a T intersection, or it's not documented to be a T intersection, so I'm confused by that. And quite honestly, the MUTCD would make things actually more difficult to put up a two-way stop if it was. So if I can get clarification on that. And I do agree with the line of sight issue being from one direction only. But my understanding, according to the MUTCD, is that the yield sign should correct for that, because the point of a yield sign is to slow down, make sure you do have clearance before proceeding into the intersection. And I think the traffic data or the accident data actually warrants that by seeing one accident over a 4-year time period, not knowing what the data states prior to that 4-year time period.
Mayor.
Alderman Levin.
This is my referral. It's not a T intersection. I don't know what data you have to suggest that Mayor Prairie is the busier of the two streets. If you have some data, I'll ask you to present that next.
The report, sir.
Well, it's my neighborhood. I can tell you they're equally well-traveled. It's a dangerous intersection. The residents have requested it. You cannot, as I put in the referral, you cannot drive eastbound on that street without coming to a complete stop and go through that intersection. The line of sight is completely blocked. So to make sure that people do come to a stop, that's what I recommend. That's what the committee recommended. That's what the the engineering department recommended. I move to call the question.
Second.
Motion to call the question, a second. There's a motion and a second, and that's not debatable. We can vote on it. Give me a second. Where's my calculator? Two-thirds is rounded up to 10 aldermen. That's what we're going to need to pass this. We're going to have to do a roll call vote. Clerk Cyprian, I would ask that you do a roll call vote on the motion to call the question. Alderman Levin with a motion, Alderman Hipskin with a second.
Alderman Levin?
Aye.
Alderman Hipskin?
Aye.
Alderman York?
Aye.
Alderman Healy?
Aye.
Alderman Honquist?
Aye.
Alderman Kennedy?
Aye.
Alderman Mulliner?
No.
Alderman Wagner?
Aye.
Alderman Gutenkopf?
No.
Alderman Deuter?
No.
Alderman Dunn?
Aye.
Alderman Leader?
Aye.
Alderman Palumsky?
Aye.
Alderman Bram?
No.
10 ayes and 4 nays.
10 ayes, 4 nays. That exceeds two-thirds of the council. That motion carries. On to the underlying motion, which is to approve agenda item 6.9, a report out of Public Affairs and Safety. Motion by Alderman Wagner, second by Alderman Leader. Clerk Cyprian, if you could call the roll on that.
Alderman Wagner?
Aye.
Alderman Leader?
Aye.
Alderman Palumsky?
Aye.
Alderman Bram?
No.
Alderman Hipskin?
Aye.
Alderman York?
Aye.
Alderman Levin?
Aye.
Alderman Healy?
Aye.
Alderman Honquist?
Aye.
Alderman Kennedy?
Aye.
Alderman Mulliner?
Aye.
Alderman Gutenkopf?
I might have voted for the stop sign except for that
Alderman, point of
stunt,
order, Alderman
so I'm
Gutenkopf.
gonna vote against
There
it.
is no more debate.
Fine, fine, fine. Squashing debate is always good.
Your vote?
No.
Alderman Deuter?
Aye.
Okay, Alderman Dunn?
Aye.
And Alderman Leader. Oops, never mind, that's it. Okay. Open phase 1, 2. Okay, 11 ayes, 3 nays.
11 ayes, 3 nays, that motion carries. On to agenda item 6.1.
Point of order? Can we have a double check on that vote count, please?
Okay,
Pardon me?
we're asking to confirm the vote count.
1, 2, 3.
12-2.
7,
It should be 12.
2, 3. 7 to 3, 14.
What did I say? 11 ayes, 3
11
nays.
ayes, 3 nays.
No?
Read off the 3 nays.
Who were the nays?
Gutenkopf, Deuter, and Bram.
That was an aye.
It was,
Deuter was an aye.
sorry, okay.
Thank you.
12 ayes.
12 ayes, 2 nays. That motion carries. On to agenda item 6.31. Clerk Cyprian, I would ask that you read the resolution.
Which one am I reading? 31?
This is 6.31. I think you're going to start here. You want to show her where she? Here. She's going to start.
Okay. Starting. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Elmhurst, DuPage, and Cook Counties, Illinois, that certain fifth letter agreement between the City of Elmhurst and Addison Corridor Development LLC, a copy of which attached hereto as Exhibit A, fifth letter of agreement, is hereby ratified and approved. Be it further resolved that the city manager is hereby authorized and directed to execute said fifth letter agreement.
Okay, resolution approving the fifth letter of agreement. I will ask for a motion. Alderman Mulliner, and a second to approve to put this before Alderman York, to put this before the city council. This is an extension of, the fifth extension of a contract. City Manager Grabowski, do you want to add to this, or?
As I think was kind of mentioned earlier, the contract that we're under with the developer expires in early January. And as we've been talking with the developer about this, and obviously the pending Zoning and Planning Commission hearing that will be in January, we thought it prudent to bring this up now rather than wait until next council meeting for this to be considered. It's essentially an extension that we've done a number of times before with a little bit of a tweak to it. The city attorney recommended a change that changes, it alters the number of days between us coming to a final contract with the developer and start of construction. I think the earlier version had 60 days in it, which just wasn't reasonable. We discovered that, and the city attorney recommended we change that, and I believe it's 150 days, Attorney Peppers? Yes. 150 days now.
Okay. Alderman Bram, you pulled this. Would you care to add comment?
Yes, thanks, Mr. Mayor. The reason why I pulled this, obviously, there was a question this evening from one of the residents of Elmhurst. This is starting to look a lot like Hahn Street. We continue to extend the contract over and over again with very limited debate about possibly even improving the contract, and that concerns me. I'm not sure, and I would like to, I guess, pose the question to the city manager on the rationale of the dates that have been chosen for this resolution, and that's the date of no later than December 15th, 2014, and June 30th of 2014, as City Manager Grabowski summarized in his comments already. But what was the rationale of extending this for another full year from pretty much next week?
Okay. City Manager Grabowski?
Yeah, I'm looking at for the dates that Alderman Brand had mentioned, so I can.
Section 2 on page 1, item number 5, construction of the project.
As I said earlier, we changed the number of days to 150 after approval and execution of the agreement that we need to reach with the developer, but certainly no later than, we just wanted an outside date for construction to start. We want to make sure that it doesn't turn into a project that just languishes. Once things are ready, we want the developer to make sure that we want to make sure that they're ready to go. And so this gives them plenty of notification for that.
Understood from the, I think you're referencing the December 15th to the June 30th date. What's the rationale of pushing this amendment or this further extension from pretty much now to a whole year later? I would have hoped to have seen a more aggressive move to start this project. Is it due to the fact of the process itself, or is there more to it than that?
Well, I think that paragraph, that provision provides two trigger dates. The first one being June 30th, which is a 6-month date from when the current one expires, which has been typical for the amendments that we've approved. They've been 6-month amendments. So that's the first trigger, and then the second one was the December date to make sure that they do get started by that date.
Thank you.
Any additional comments or questions as it relates to this item and this motion? Seeing none, I'll ask Clerk Cyprian to please call the roll.
Alderman Mulliner,
Aye.
Alderman York,
Aye.
Alderman Levin,
Aye.
Alderman Healy,
Aye.
Alderman Honquist,
Aye.
Alderman Kennedy,
Aye.
Alderman Wagner,
Aye.
Alderman Gutenkopf,
Aye.
Alderman Deuter,
Aye.
Alderman Dunn,
Aye.
Alderman Leader,
Aye.
Alderman Palumski,
Aye.
Alderman Bram,
Aye.
Alderman Hipskin,
Aye.
14 ayes, 0 nays.
14 ayes, 0 nays. That motion carries. Under reports and recommendations, I will keep mine brief. Report number 1 is that we have a committee of the whole after this to discuss Hahn Street, preliminary discussion or initial discussion after finalist presentation with Hahn Street this evening. We also have our circle back items that we're hoping to finish. My other report would be, I've been getting this question a lot, and I don't have an official answer, but I can report and direct people to Crane's Chicago Business. This afternoon, Crane's reported on the closing of the Dominick stores. Mariano's is interested in, I believe, 9 of the stores. As reported, and not to be confirmed, but as reported, Whole Foods is interested in 7 of the Dominick's locations, one of which is being reported as the Route 83 in Elmhurst location. There's been no official confirmation of that, but I've been getting this call maybe 2 or 3 times a day for the past 2 weeks. That's what's being reported in the press. City Manager Grabowski.
Thank you. I have 2 items. The first is a reminder that this week is the last free leaf pickup for the year, so please get that word out. We did send out some messages today via social media to remind people of that and put it on the website, that this week with your regular garbage pickup is free leaf pickup. And then 2 upcoming meetings that I want the community to be aware of, and both are regarding the North York TIF plan. Housel Levine is coordinating 2 meetings in December. The first is on the 16th, and this is for the business community. It's a workshop primarily for the business community. It's at 8 a.m. here at City Hall in Council Chambers. And then on the 17th, there is a community member workshop. So that's more of the residential focus, and that's at 7 p.m., December 17th, here at City Hall in the Council Chambers. We'll be getting the word out. Housel Levine will be getting the word out as we move along. We'll work with our other partners in the city to get those words out so that people can come and talk to them about what they'd like to see in the North York TIF corridor.
Very good. Any other recommendations or reports? Alderman Bram.
Thank you. 2 items, Mr. Mayor. One of which, in regards to North York planning, I hope that there's more than those 2 dates, both for the public as well as the committee that was appointed by yourself, Mr. Mayor. And the second item, I wanted to state in regards to call the question, it's a sad state of affairs that we utilize a tool in Robert's rules for stifling or ending debate.
Point of order.
Hold on, Alderman Bram, we have a point of order.
I just want to know, is this appropriate for announcements?
It's a report, sir.
What are we reporting on? Is
Report and or recommendations.
Alderman Bram, let me rule on the point of order.
Stifling again.
Alderman, let me ask you this.
Usually other businesses for ordinances. Typically. But we abuse other business, so.
Okay. At the city attorney's advice, I'm going to say that it's not in order to have these comments, as it's not a report. I would encourage Alderman Bram under other business if he wants to finish his comment.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, any other reports or recommendations? Seeing none, we'll go on to agenda item number 8, ordinances. Clerk Cyprian, I would ask that you read ordinance 066-2013.
An ordinance for the levy and assessment of taxes for the fiscal year beginning May 1, 2013, and ending December 31, 2013, of the City of Elmhurst, DuPage, and Cook Counties, Illinois.
Very good. I ask a motion to approve the ordinance as read. Motion by Alderman York, second by Alderman Dunn. Discussion. Alderman York.
I have nothing, Your Honor.
Any comments or questions as it relates to ordinance 066-2013? Any other comments or discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask Clerk Cyprian to please call the roll.
Alderman York.
Aye.
Alderman Dunn.
Aye.
Alderman Leader.
Aye.
Alderman Palumski.
Aye.
Alderman Bram.
Aye.
Alderman Hipskin.
Aye.
Alderman Levin.
Aye.
Alderman Healy.
Aye.
Alderman Honquist.
Aye.
Alderman Kennedy.
Aye.
Alderman Mulliner.
Aye.
Alderman Wagner.
Aye.
Alderman Gudenkauf.
No.
Alderman Deuter.
Aye.
13 ayes, 1 nay.
13 ayes, 1 nay. That motion carries. Agenda item 8.2, Municipal Code 15-2013. Clerk Cyprian, please read the ordinance.
An ordinance amending Section 3.12 entitled Part-Time Police Officers of Chapter 3 entitled City Administration of the Elmhurst Municipal Code.
I'd ask for a motion to approve by Alderman Honquist and a second by Alderman Wagner. Alderman Honquist, any comments?
The only comment is this was an update to the city ordinance that was already in place for police policy. So the state board had requested that the different townships update this to an ordinance status versus a policy status, and that's why it's before us.
Okay. Pardon me. Oh. We did? Oh, fantastic. Okay. Any other comments or questions? I'll remind the council, as the city attorney just reminded me, we voted to suspend the rules in the report on this specific ordinance under the consent agenda. Just a reminder. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Alderman Honquist.
Aye.
Alderman Wagner.
Aye.
Alderman Gudenkauf.
Aye.
Alderman Deuter.
Aye.
Alderman Dunn.
Aye.
Alderman Leader.
Aye.
Alderman Palumski.
Aye.
Alderman Bram.
Aye.
Alderman Hipskin.
Aye.
Alderman York.
Aye.
Alderman Levin.
Aye.
Alderman Healy.
Aye.
Alderman Kennedy.
Aye.
And Alderman Mulliner.
Aye.
14 ayes, 0 nays.
14 ayes, 0 nays, that motion carries. Agenda item number 9, other business. Is there anybody with any other business? Anybody at all? Alderman Bram, you have the floor.
Thank you. As I was saying previously, I think it is a sad state of affairs that we are abusing Robert's Rules of Order to stifle or end debate prematurely. I myself will never vote for a call to question because I don't think that I should ever limit the debate by any of my colleagues on the dais. I might not always agree with commentary. I might not always agree with rationale. But I sit here intently on every issue and listen diligently and on occasion even change my decision, my vote, due to debate by my fellow aldermen. I think today is just an example on how, as of late, call to question has been abused here in the City Hall of Elmhurst. I'm disappointed that that would be the path taken, and I would encourage every alderman who sit up here at the dais to continue debate, no matter what side of the issue you are on, because I think it is always a benefit not only to the individuals elected, but all of the residents of the city of Elmhurst. I would highly encourage that my colleagues stop abusing what I would deem to be an abuse of Robert's rules and the utilization of call to question. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Alderman Mulliner.
I'm just going to respond just very briefly. I agree that we shouldn't stifle debate. However, I do not consider that an abuse of power. That's what Robert's Rules is there for. That's what our ordinances are there for. If call the question is called, that's what the rules are for. It's not an abuse of power. It's appropriate use. I may not support it, but it's an appropriate use of the rules.
Okay, any other comments? Alderman Levin.
I would just like to state for the record, I don't think I've ever voted, called the question on something that hadn't been thoroughly debated, but it is an appropriate tool where we have a very full agenda that's going to take us long into the night as it has, and it's a tool to test whether or not the council's will is to continue debate on a particular issue, and that's why I called the question.
Very good. Alderman Gutenkopf.
I certainly appreciate Alderman Levin's position. However, I really disagree with it. And I think Alderman Bram hit a lot of the key points here. I don't think we had the opportunity to thoroughly discuss an issue. I think it was a cheap trick, and I resent its use. And I'm not afraid to say that. I'm upset that residents didn't get to hear a thorough discussion of an issue, no matter what the issue is. And I think that somebody's eagerness to get out of here early meant that they weren't giving any issue, a particular issue, an appropriate vetting. I'd hate to see this happen to anybody on this council. It's not a tool that I ever think I would use. I don't care how legal it is or appropriate it is or how much in line with the rules it is. It doesn't make it any less of a cheap trick. And now we're going to spend some time discussing the fact that it was used rather than discussing the issue underlying it, the real thing that we should be spending time on tonight. I don't think it was appropriate. I don't think it was fair to the residents, and I don't think it was fair to other people on the dais. I'm sorry it had to end at that. It's 20 minutes after 8. We had intended to try to get to the rest of our meeting at 8 o'clock. I think that was, an appropriate thing to do, but now we're going to spend some time talking about this instead. And you won't get out of here as early as you thought you might by calling the question. Thank you.
I'm going to take a moment to address this. I'm certain the aldermen on the dais know, and I'm not sure if the audience knows, but we have some very specific rules of meeting order that is in our municipal code. Anything that is not specifically addressed in our municipal code specifically states that we will follow Robert's Rules of Order, which is what we did. The other thing that's stated in Robert's Rules and also in our code is that I am the chairman of the meeting. You'll notice that I rarely, if ever, speak on agenda items, but I do my best to move items along. So that having been said, I stand by my ruling for Robert's Rules. I think that's what makes an effective meeting. I personally don't always like the outcome of Robert's Rules, but I do think we need to stick with them. And I will issue a reminder to the council as we move into our budget discussions, and I meant to do it last week, but we ran a little late. As a chairman, I have allowed council members to address other council members individually. Technically, that's a violation of the rules. Now, I'm okay with that, and I think the city council has been okay with that when usually there's a compliment addressed. So, for example, Alderman Deuter, I appreciate your passion on X, and I support you 100%. That's something that I think the council tolerates, and as a chairman, I will tolerate. However, when we get into items of contention or items where emotions might enter or people feel strongly, I'm going to ask and remind the council not to address other council members directly. So, for example, instead of saying, I disagree with Alderman X and I don't like the way it was presented, another opportunity might be to say, I would be more inclined to support this if I had this information. So I'm just asking the council. We got a little bit into it during our last committee of the whole. I know the city council does support Robert's Rules, and I hope they'll take note of this reminder that if you are in a contentious or a heated discussion, please refrain from direct addressing of other aldermen. And I'd like to keep the leeway that we have where it is. So, thank you very much. Any other business? Motion to adjourn. Alderman Brand with the motion, Alderman Honquist with the second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned. We're going to take a 5-minute break before we go into our committee of the whole. It's 8.